Hello everyone, welcome to Ka Homeopathy Study Group Pro Bono webinar. We provide excellency in educational purpose of holistic approach by conducting professional homeopathic webinars that provides continuing educational credits to practitioners following principles of classical homeopathy. We encourage speakers for HNI accredited webinars. This study group is dedicated to provide moral support to stage 4 cancer survivors. These webinars are for educational purpose only and see expert homeopath for treatment. We value and treasure human collective as our honorable peers. We bring world-renowned homeopaths to our webinars. This is Kavita Kokunur from Michigan, USA, President and CEO of Kavita Holistic Approach. I am board certified homeopath, outreach coordinator of CHC PR committee, encouraging homeopaths to become CHC certified. I am member of Kevin Friendly Foundation, a non-profit organization that helps to serve poor people in greater needs in India. I thank Ka Homeopathy Study Group team for the continuous support. This webinar is moderated by Dr. Deepak Sharma, Dr. Sweta Singh, and Professor Regina Rianelli. It is being recorded as we speak, and we are live on Facebook. Today's topic is practical approach of homeopathy in treating infertility. It is a wide topic, but we will cover as much as possible. We have very good homeopathic remedies to address infertility in male as well as in female. Based on root cause, individualization, totality of symptoms, appropriate homeopathic remedies were given. To name few conditions which we commonly see are PCOS, PCOD, menorrhagia, it could be even acid vaginal discharge, fibroid, etc. But when symptoms match to the remedy, it can be any remedy. It can be pulsatilla, sepia, lycopodium, calcarea carb, elytris, venosa, etc. will bring the expected results. But when all remedies fail, and there is a symptom like yearning for soulmate, great disappointment for lost love with deep grief, then we can think of salmon. Oncorhynchus is the name, and it is proved by Dynamic School of Germishire. Having babies is a dominant feature of this salmon remedy, with many symptoms related to conception and infertility. I have given to one client, but she left to India, so I could not hear. So anyone who has more cases on salmon, please do share to us. Today, we will learn more from our honorable guest speaker, who is an eminent homeopath, Dr. Kavita Chandak. She is an international speaker and trainer practicing homeopathy for over 2 decades. She is running 2 clinics at Nagpur and a web clinic. She has won the Best Thesis First Rank in PG Homeopathy London 2013. She is Director of Padmaja Welfare Foundation, NGO, working for health awareness in society. She received a lot of prestigious awards for her medico-social contribution towards society, presented many research papers and seminars in India as well as international conferences at London, America, UAE, various countries in Europe, Africa, and many more. She delivered more than 700 talk shows for non-medicos with the theme Prevention is Better Than Cure. She has delivered 60 free webinars for various countries during this corona crisis. Her book, Health versus Disease, released in America, it is available at Amazon Kindle. She has written many articles for Hpathy, Heritage Magazine, and many more. You can, for more information, visit drkavitachandak.com. And when I was in India in January 2020 for HPWWC conference, she came to see me. That was so sweet of her, and it was a lovely meeting. Let us invite Dr. Kavita Chandak to our webinar.
Thank you, dear Kavita, and thank you all the audiences for your patience listening, because from now this point, your 1.5 hour will be mine. So put yourself, invest yourself with me, and let us start our session without wasting our time, because audiences already waited a lot. So I won't keep you hang. Okay. Is my screen visible, Kavita?
Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, beautiful.
It's fine? Okay. So now everybody can watch. So am I audible clearly for everyone?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you everyone. So let us start our today's session. Today I am going to talk about infertility. See, we all know everything about everything because you are already learned people. I am not going to teach you anything. Here I am just to share my experience and what I am doing in my practice. So just enjoy this. Thank you so much to the Kavita Holistic Approach for inviting me today. Because till now I have taken the webinars for some friends or for some other organizations. But Kavita is really close to heart and it's really a great honor and pleasure to be here. So Kavita have already explained about my profile. So I'm not going to talk anything about these my awards and my social work. But let me tell you one thing which I am doing. Because see, I explained this slide in my every webinar because I want you to understand one thing that we are doctors only when we are sitting in our chamber. But we are physician even when we are not sitting in our chamber. So our duty towards this society is always there by 24 by 7. So what I am doing since 20 years, I am doing one thing that with my own desire and my dedication, I am going in the slum area in my city and the other places nearby to my city, and I am just sharing my PowerPoint presentation there just to make the people aware about homeopathy. What is homeopathy? How it works, how its mechanism, how economic it is, and how much beneficial it is. Because see, it is said that homeopathy is the pathy of only elite class people. But I just wanted to break this myth. I wanted everyone should come to homeopathy, and they will only come to homeopathy only if they know the benefits of homeopathy. Because till now, unfortunately, homeopathy is the second choice of treatment. So, Kavita, there is some admission. Should I admit it? Okay.
We will do, Kavita.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. So this is my main motto here to spread homeopathy. We all are here for the same motto, same purpose, and that's why today we are sharing this beautiful knowledge about infertility and homeopathy. And after that, till today, I am writing a lot of articles in all languages, Hindi, Marathi, English, Urdu, whatever languages I know and I could translate. So I am writing a lot of health articles for the public awareness. And I do deliver a session on All India Radio and television, national television, regarding exact mechanism of homeopathy and the crucial role of diet in our day-to-day life. What I want to suggest here, one more important fact is that usually doctors suggest the patient what not to eat when they visit us. But instead of that, it is better if you will suggest them what to eat. For example, we suggest the patient to take okra soup or just drench okra in the water. It is good for cancer. Or we can suggest them flax seeds. We can suggest them holy basil. So everything is different for different individual disorder. But we have this big chapter in our organ. So we must tell our patient what to eat because diet has a very good role and important and crucial role in the recovery. So friends, now I am going to share about today's session. This is our today's menu. Introduction of infertility. Then we will discuss about causes of infertility. Then I'll show evidence-based clinical cases of infertility. Then different approaches to handle infertility. Useful rubrics. Because whatever we are dealing, see, many of the times what happens, we collect the proper case, but we do not know how to pick the rubrics or which rubric we should pick. For that, you need a complete knowledge of rubric. Then we will discuss about the treatment strategy, justification of mater medica of the given remedy, then summary of approaches, and in the end, we will definitely love to salute the womanhood because as you all know, that women is the half of the population of this planet. Marriage. As a general rule, the female constitution is not sufficiently matured till the 21st year of age to allow of marriage without risk of injury to health and comfort. Too early marriage often results in a broken constitution and feeble health in the mother or in the birth of weakly children. On the other hand, too late marriage often entails much discomfort, and children born of such parents are often sickly and die prematurely. Unfortunately, till today, in various states of India, we still have too early marriages. It is known as Bal Vivaha, means the marriages even before the puberty. Legally, it is not allowed, but still it is there. What is sterility? When a reasonable period has elapsed after marriage and conception not taken place, the question arises, what is the cause? Most people will have this strong desire to conceive a child at some point during their lifetime. Understanding what defines normal fertility is crucial to helping a person or a couple know when it is time to seek help. Most couples, approximately 85% people, will achieve pregnancy within 1 year of trial, with the greatest likelihood of conception occurring during the earlier months. Only an additional 7% of couple will conceive in the second year. As a result, infertility has come to be defined as the inability to conceive within 12 months. And this diagnosis is therefore shared by 15% of couples attempting to conceive. As we all know, infertility is a major issue in society and a difficult situation for a couple and even for a family. Now, there are different causes behind infertility. See, we are homeopath and our duty is to find the why behind everything. So, causes as per local and constitutional view. When non-conception is due to faults on the side of female, the causes may be local or constitutional. Among local causes are a natural defect in the formation of vagina, uterus, ovaries, etc., which is comparatively rare, polyps or other tumors in the uterus, and sometimes leukorrhea, too frequent sexual intercourse can be also a cause behind local cause behind infertility. The constitutional causes include those in which the general physical powers are impaired or exhausted by acute or chronic disease. It means low resistance power or what we call as low immunity. Then obesity is one of the cause. Too severe exertion, tendency of taking stress, by which an undue amount of nervous power is diverted from the reproductive organs. A luxurious and inactive mode of life. Even if you have a sedentary lifestyle, it can be a reason behind your infertility. So usually whenever I have such patients, I give the treatment to the patient, and with that I usually suggest them to join gym or go for morning walk or do at least some exercise yoga. Then sexual frigidity. Causes as per specific reason. First can be the advancing maternal age. Historically, before the latter 20th century, women were conceiving in their teens and 20s, when age-related abnormalities with the egg were not evident. However, in our modern era, women are delaying childbirth until the 30s and 40s, which has led to the discovery of the adverse effect of advanced maternal age on egg function. In fact, female age-related infertility is the most common cause of infertility today. You know, in metro cities, nowadays, even in India, there is a fashion of DINGs. It means double income and no kids for few years. But what is the limit of few years? They do not know. sometimes it is 35 till the age of 35, sometimes 36, 37, and sometimes it is 40. And later on, when they want to conceive, it's difficult to conceive and infertility happens. For unknown reasons, as women age, egg numbers decrease at a rapid rate. And as aging occurs, egg quality, being genetically normal, decreases as well. Hence, the ability to conceive a normal pregnancy decreases from when a woman is in her early 35th to her 40 years of age. A woman is rarely fertile beyond the age of 45. This applies to the ability to conceive with her own egg, but it is not applicable with the donor eggs. With donor eggs, she may conceive even after 45. Now, few ovulation disorders are there, like we have PCOS, then we have hypogonadotrophic hypogonadism. These hormonal ovulation disorders and ovarian insufficiency can be the cause behind the infertility. Then comes tubal occlusion. Tubal occlusion is a cause of infertility because an ovulated egg is unable to fertilize by a sperm or to reach the endometrial cavity. Then comes uterine fibroids. As we all know, we have three types of fibroid in our uterus, in which one is intramural, then subserosal and submucosal. But the submucosal is the biggest enemy for a doctor, because if you see, submucosal are the type of fibroid that has clearly been demonstrated to reduce pregnancy rate, roughly by 50%, and removal of which will double pregnancy rate. So we need to target this submucosal fibroid first. Then comes endometrial polyps. Endometrial polyps are finger-like growth. They look like grapes in the uterine cavity arising from the lining of the uterus, which we call as endometrium. Then male factors affecting sperm function. Later on come endometriosis. See, in other pathies, for endometriosis, the usual choice of treatment is DNC. But in homeopathy, we have specific remedies. Almost we have 12 remedies in our homeopathy for endometriosis. What happens in endometriosis? Endometriosis is a condition whereby cells very similar to the same uterine cavity or endometrium are found outside the uterine cavity. It's found in approximately 10 to 15% of reproductive aged women and can be associated with infertility as well as pain during intercourse and during menstrual periods. Endometriosis causes infertility by producing inflammation and scarring. And later on, we have some unexplained other causes. And you know, friends, when there is no cause, there is no specific cause, the reason is idiopathic. Here is the role of homeopathy. Because in Hindi, there is a proverb, Jo na dekhe Ravi, wo dekhe Kavi. It means even the place where the sun rays are not able to reach, but still the imagination of poet can reach there. So it is this same applicable to homeopathy. Now treatment part. This must be regulated by the cause. If uterine irregularity, leukorrhea or other functional derangement exists, it must be remedied by such means as have been previously pointed out, and injurious habits must be corrected. So you must target the focus first. Now, two-phase treatment plans for infertility. First, when patient is absolutely normal without any pathology. Usually it happens with us. Patient or couple consult a homeopath only when they have done with all other schools. And if they do not get any result, then they usually come to homeopath. Usually it happens at 70% time. And they show you all the investigation and they say, doctor, see, all my investigations are normal, but I don't know why we are not able to conceive. So here is the role of homeopathy. In such situation, the treatment plan should be obviously constitutional remedy according to the totality of symptoms with intercurrent Charcot and Nosode. There is a specific role of Charcot and Nosode. Here I will be explaining you which Charcot is important when there is no pathology behind infertility and which Nosode is important and how. Here is the specific role of Thyroidinum and Syphilinum. Why we use the Nosode and Charcot in our practice in gynec cases? Nosode therapy has much common with tattopathy because it uses homeopathic remedies made from a disease causing microbe or diseased tissue. Of course, safely diluted so that no trace of the original substance remains. Nosode therapy is a very direct method for removing the imprints that a disease has left in energetic body of the patient. See, a mother can, through her genetic transfer, can transfer a lot of toxins to the child. Lot of molecular imprints are there on her vitality. It may be because of antibiotics, because of antidepressant remedy, maybe because of alcohol, smoking, or even maybe because of nasal spray. You do not know, even this innocent nasal spray can cause some suppression of vitality. So all these outer external things are also considered as the toxin. These are the environmental toxins. And if there is any mental stress, that can be a reason behind the her mental suppression is again a reason which can cause some imprint on her vitality, which the mother can transfer to the child. Now, Nosode therapy has a very direct method for removing the imprints that a disease has left in energetic body of the patient. Patients often complain that they have never completely recovered after a particular disease. Never been well since is the keynote character of Nosode. The administration of a Nosode for that disease can completely resolve such disturbance and restore the state of health as it existed before the disease, and the mother or the child can become permanent healthy. Why do we use Charcot? Charcot is something in homeopathy which we prepare from the healthy secretion, physiological secretion or physiological tissue of the organs. See, Charcot usually balances what is imbalanced in the organ. It is there to tune what is mistuned. So, such therapy is especially useful when an organ is damaged or functioning at a low energy level, usually at the same time as deeper homeopathic treatment. So, Charcot and Nosodes are there as a catalyst to speed up the recovery, to remove the molecular imprints, or to remove the toxins from your immunity and strengthen the organ for the fertility. So, they are very much important in our practice. Now, when there is no pathology, the important Charcot to be used is Thyroidinum. You see, during my presentation, you will see the pearls of Materia Medica scattered here and there all the time. Because I love to share more than what is the topic. Today we are talking about infertility, but while explaining Thyroidinum, I will give you the clinical tips regarding other diseases too. Thyroidinum lady is little obese lady. Sometimes we can differentiate Thyroidinum with Calcarea carp too. Easy fatigue is there, tendency to recurrent cold. Disorders of pregnancy can be covered, especially abortion at 3rd month, vomiting, edema legs, hypertension, palpitation. You can consider Thyroidinum as a good remedy even in preeclampsia and eclampsia of pregnancy. Tendency to fibroid tumors of breast or uterus is there in Thyroidinum. A remedy to be considered in case of arrested development in children and has a regulatory influence on the mechanism of the organs of nutrition, growth and development. My dear friend, uterus and breast are the organs of development. We develop a new life because of we have the uterus in our body. So thyroidinum has a very good role whenever there is any issue which is related with your pregnancy or even after birth. If there is a failure to thrive, like child is not able to gain the perfect height or weight as per his age ratio, then you can put thyroidinum. Thyroidinum is also a very good remedy when mental retardation is there. It is useful even in cases of ADHD and autism. Doses in low potency for undescended testes is really beneficial. Hybrid tumors of breast is there, but it is indicated in the patients who are already known cases of tuberculinum because it may cause further decrease in weight. In menorrhagia, metrorrhagia, and amenorrhea, there is no better remedy than thyroidinum. Insanity with menstruation disorder in young girls or hysterical person during pregnancy, written by Dr. Ghosh. Thyroidinum in low potency is useful in distressing itching of psoriasis. You can treat the convulsion in newborn babies when you do not know the cause. If there is no febrile convulsion, no fever is associated with convulsion, still the infant is having convulsion and all the investigations are normal. Don't think just immediately put thyroidinum to the patient, you will get instant results. And friends, it is a cosmetic remedy too. The use of thyroidinum 30 or 200 will not only prevent grey hair but help in restoring normal color. Give 30 potency for 1 month daily and then follow with 200 potency every week for a month. So thyroidinum is a one remedy but useful in various states as mentioned in this slide. You can see here it is useful in fibroadenoma, useful in eclampsia of pregnancy, menorrhagia, amenorrhea and historical conditions too. Now we will talk about nosode. Which nosode is more applicable when there is no pathology? If there is no pathology in the investigation, that doesn't mean there is no pathology. Of course, there is a pathology which the machines are not able to diagnose. So here is the rule. There must be a tendency of destruction in the genetics of the child. So we have to put a nosode which can cover this tendency. Syphilinum is there. If the lady has history of repeated abortion in past, think of syphilinum. There is chronic neuralgia, aggravation at night. Female genitalia, menses with the odor of rotten meat. These are few keynotes which you can confirm before putting the remedy. Nocturnal aggravation of all the complaints. Leukorrhea of syphilinum is profuse, acrid, greenish, soaking through the napkin and running down to the heels. When a patient is slow re-establishing himself, a single dose of syphilinum will bring him his appetite, strength, sleep and formal weight. So whenever there is any history of abortion or typhoid or dengue or any major illness and after that patient is not able to recover properly, his appetite is lost even after taking lot of medicine and now there is no pathology in the lab investigation, you can observe as a subjective symptom. Still that patient is feeling weakness, no appetite is there. Just put syphilinum, your patient will be back to the recovery. Now, when there is some pathology, it is very important. Which type of pathology we can get in infertility cases? The first can be uterine fibroid or it can be PCOD. PCOD is very common disorder and this disease is very common in the girls between the age of 14 to 16 years. The other symptoms of PCOD can be weight gain, pimples, hair growth on face and irregular menses. This is hirsutism, what we call. PCOD is one of the major causes of infertility. PCOD causes hormonal imbalance in female and hence the level of male hormone increases in female body. Ovulation gets disturbed which causes irregular menses, scanty or profuse flow and infertility. Homeopathic medicine should be given to maintain the insulin level, which can reduce the weight also. Because friends, in PCOD, it usually causes increase in the level of insulin in the body. So we always test the serum insulin level in the patients who visit us for PCOD or PCOS. If there is disturbance in insulin level, then you must put cortisone 200. Again, it is a sarcode, and I already told you that in gynec cases, sarcodes has a very beautiful role to play. Cortisone 200, one dose when menses upset in young girls with insulin fluctuation. PCOD is one of the cause for frequent abortion too. The lady with PCOD is more prone for uterus cancer after the age of 40 years. So treat the PCOD right now so that you can prevent the cancer in such cases. Now treatment of infertility when some pathology is there. Obviously, constitutional remedy is the first choice. But to remove this pathology, we need to put some specific nosodes. Nosodes originate from pathological origin, as homeopathy says, similia similibus curantur, like cures like, so let the poison kill the poison. Nosodes are very important to fight with the extra growths. So in such cases, when there is extra growth in the form of PCOD or in the form of fibroid, we need to put a remedy which can cover it. And the nosode is here Medorinum. Now let us discuss about Medorinum. It is a nosode prepared from gonorrheal virus. It is very much useful for psychotic sterility. Menses profuse, dark, clotted, stains difficult to wash. Flow dark, clotted, offensive in gushes with malignant disease of uterus. Leukorrhea is thin and fishy odor. Craves eyes. There is breasts are cold as the eyes. There is burning of hands and feet, wants them uncovered, wants to be found. If there is burning in the palm only and patient wants to uncover the palm, if there is burning in the soles only and patient want to keep it uncovered while lying down in the bed, you have two remedies, that is sulfur and lycopodium. But if there is burning of hands and feet together and patient wants to keep them outside, then your remedy can be Medorinum. It is a preventive for abortion. Medorinum rectifies the obscure metabolic defect in the mother, where her children come in for infantile death one after another. Intense menstrual colic with drawing up of knees and terrible bearing down pains like labor. Patient must press feet against support as in labor. Then the other remedy here is Psychosis bacillus. It is a very good remedy when there is tuberculosis of ovaries. These patients are usually dark-haired, sallow, pale, anemic, puffy, greasy skin, prematurely grey hair, and it is a very good remedy for hirsutism. You can treat the hirsutism with this remedy because hirsutism is a common keynote character with the PCOS. Then there is one more sarcode, that is ovininum. This is ovarian extract and use is in the sufferings caused by excision of ovary. Where is there excision of the ovary? If suppose any patient underwent for surgery, they remove the cyst surgically and still there is development of cyst again, recurrence is there and later on the patient is consulting a homeopath, then there is a role of ovininum. It is a very good remedy in such cases if there is nervous breakdown in women at climax. Sometimes ladies feel after menopause that they are no more ladies now. So with this remedy and even with orchidinum, the other sarcode, you can bring the femininity of a lady back. You can be young always with such remedies, ovininum and orchidinum. Then this is a remedy. It is not sarcode or nosode, but we use this remedy when there is a deep pathology behind infertility. Auramur nitronitrile. It is approved from sodium chloride. This remedy has prominent influence on female genital organs with a background of syphilis. Auramur nitronitrum and sepia have the congested and indurated state of cervix of uterus. Cervix is indurated, chronic metritis and prolapsus is there. So you can use this remedy when there is a history of frequent abortion in the mother of the particular lady who is not able to conceive now. So in that patient also you can use Auramur nitronitrum to clear her syphilitic background. The remedies most serviceable in sterility are sepia, agnus, phonium, platina, ferrum, phosphorus, etc. Now homeopathic approaches to enter in cases of infertility. To enter in case, sometimes we value the essence, sometimes the totality of symptom, and sometimes it is the keynote symptom. That is PQRS as mentioned in aphorism 153 by our father Hahnemann. For example, if a child has shyness and he is not able to face the people, hides himself in presence of guests, thus shyness is the essence of child. Running through his behavior, the remedy can be Varaitaka. It is the example which I am giving you how to distinguish between essence, the keynote and the totality. If we have the shyness along with embarrassment and weeping disposition as totality, the remedy can be Pulsatilla, Ignatia and China. If we have a strong keynote like desire for candies and rasgulla, it is a sweet which we get in India, it is intense sweet. Then we look the rubrics, desire for dentists or desire for delicacies as a keynote. Because if it is just a desire, then it is a physical general. If craving is there, then it becomes a mental symptom and it becomes a keynote. And the remedy for such condition is Argentum nitricum, Saccharum officinale and Tuberculinum. Now I am going to discuss a beautiful case here. There is a infertility case with low AMH. AMH levels can be measured to determine how many follicles a woman has in her ovaries. AMH levels help show how many potential egg cells a woman has left. Low levels of AMH may be related to primary ovarian insufficiency and high levels of the hormone may be due to PCOS. Women are born with their lifetime supply of eggs and this gradually decreases in both quality and quantity with age. AMH is the hormone secreted by cells in developing egg sacs. The level of AMH in a woman's blood is generally a good indicator of her ovarian result. A woman can be infertile because of low AMH. This is the case. A 32 years female visited me at 19 July 2018 for deficient AMH. It was just 0.01. As well, hypothyroidism, TSH was 0.06 with secondary amenorrhea since 4 months. She had dark clotted menses, suppressed menses since 4 months. Ultrasound showed abdomen revealed bilateral small ovaries. Premature ovarian failure was there. Basically, this was the case of secondary sterility. This is the patient who approached me by 19 July 2018. And as we see here, by her investigation done 6 July 2018, AMH value was 0.01 and the ultrasound done by 5th July 2018 referred by some other doctor was showing bilateral small ovaries suggestive of premature ovarian failure. Her husband said she feels very disappointed after ultrasound report. She sat at her both ovaries as her both ovaries are not functioning well. Her menses didn't appear since 4 months, which is making her very angry and irritable, and all the time she just sulks about it. She expects a lot from her husband and from others too. Thermally, she was a chilly patient. So rubrics considered in this case were ovaries complaint of from the chapter female genitalia, menses absent, dark clotted menses, lack of vital heat, that is chilly patient, and grief from after losing objects. Because when she saw her sonography report, she felt disappointed. Now I lost my ovaries. Now I am not going to be a mother anymore. Brooding of obviously brooding was there because all the time she was sulking about her gynec trouble. Ailments from disappointment. That is obvious with every patient. If you will see the report that your ovaries are not working well, there is ovarian premature ovarian failure, you will land in disappointment. And hypothyroidism was there. Friends, usually I do not consider the pathognomic symptoms during my study or repertorization because they talk about the disease. But what we need the non-pathognomic symptoms, and we always get our best cures out of these non-pathognomic symptoms. Because these non-pathognomic symptoms talks about the patient beyond the disease. I just considered the hypothyroidism rubric here just to see the totality. But for prescription, I usually do not consider the pathognomic symptom. I consider one more rubric in this case to confirm my remedy, mind from the mind chapter, anger from arrest of hemorrhage. As there was suppression of menses from 4 months, which made her very much irritable. So I consider this rubric which confirm my remedy, ignatia, because in the last slide, as we see here in the repertory chart, ignatia, lycopodium came up. But we never prescribe or I never prescribed my remedy just because it stood first in the repertorization chart. I always confirm my remedy from the Materia Medica, which is the final court of appeal. So in this case, my approach was essence. As we know, Ignatia's essence, high expectation and ideals, especially in romance. Not even in her romantic life, but everywhere she has the high expectations, but from her own people. High expectation of love is the core of Ignatia. She expects a lot, and if you are not successful to fulfill her wishes, then she may kick you off. So prescription Ignatia 200, one dose aqua was prescribed at July 19 by considering brooding nature and high expectation of attention from her husband, not for money, but for his quality time too. And Tharadinum 30 was used as per the need of the case in further course because, as I mentioned, the importance of Tharadinum, first thing. Second, as it is...
Hello, sorry to interrupt you, Kavita. Small thing, like people were saying like they were not able to see the screen clearly. Is there any way you can...
Yes, Kavita. Yes, we can do one thing. I can stop sharing and again can start sharing. It will clear the screen. Okay?
Blurry, please.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. How is it now?
Yes, little better.
Maybe it is internet problem, Kavita.
Yeah, they are seeing as little blurry, so just wanted to say, but yeah, thank you.
But friends, I am reading the whole slides, so don't worry, you can hear. Okay?
And they are asking if they can get the PDF.
Later on, we can discuss about it.
Okay.
At the end of session. Okay?
Thank you.
So I use Tharadinum here because Sarcode is important as a catalyst to speed up the recovery. So the report done by me at 12th October 2018, as we can see here, the TSH level became normal. It is now 3.64 and AMH came 0.15, which is normal. The normal range varies from 0.9 to 9, and previously it was 0.01 before homeopathic treatment. After homeopathic treatment, it becomes 0.14. And the ultrasound report revealed no significant abnormality is detected now. There is no premature ovarian failure. Everything is absolutely normal. The size of ovary came normal. Just within 3 months, her AMH level increased from 0.01 to 0.14 and TSH level from 0.06 to 3.64 with homeopathic medication. Menses reappeared and regular now. Now who will stop her from being pregnant? So this is the recovery with homeopathic medicine in just 3 to 4 months. Now this is the case 2. A 31 years old lady consulted me for primary infertility with her husband. They underwent many types of treatment and IUI cycles for 4 times. There was complaint of irregular ovulation for which laparoscopy has been performed. Menses were regular with adequate quantity containing brownish dark clots. There was burning pain in vagina during intercourse. She complained white leukorrhea many times in a month. Patient had hypothyroidism and gained weight. Her husband said she goes to office, but before that she get all household work done as per her choice by the maids. Every Sunday she herself do dusting and cleaning. She loves cleanliness, she is reserved, she is hypersensitive, even cannot hurt ants. Whenever she sees ant, she do like this, but she never touches or hurt the ants. She used to make lot of plans. Her mind was never empty, offended easily, too much sensitive patient, could not let go things from the mind. She said, I am introverted, can share my feelings with my husband and my mother only. Though she has a very good rapport with her mother-in-law, but she never show up her feelings to her mother-in-law. Thermally, chilly patient, dreams of routine business, bowels are clear, sleep position on abdomen, desire for sweet was there, perspiration scanty, only if she does exercise, and there was a history, family history, mother was hypothyroidism. So in this case, the considered rubrics were dark clotted menses, brown menses, burning during vagina, caution during from the chapter female genitalia, leukorrhea white, fastidiousness, as she is too much fastidious, she wanted her work to get done the work by the maids in her proper way. Making many plans, offended easily. From the general chapters, we picked 2 physical generals, desire sweet and lack of vital heat, that is chilly patient. Her position of sleep was abdomen. See, position of sleep in every case is very important. Like if patient is sleeping like this, by putting his hand on his head, it is pulsatile symptom. If the child is sleeping with knee chest position, then it is a clear-cut symptom of SINA. So it helps us in the selection of remedy. Later on, just for selection, I considered 2 pathogenic rubrics, hypothyroidism and sterility. Now, sepia and nitramir came up. In this case, my approach was totality of symptom, constitutional remedy. Nitramir 200, 1 dose given in water in August 2016. In September 16, regular menses appeared in first week of September with less clots. Placebo given. Patient had 2 attacks of severe headache, which she used to have in 8th standard in her school days and forgot to mention in my interview. In October 16, regular menses with negligible clots, no headache, but as she was known case of hypothyroidism, as when no pathology in body, I prescribed her Thyroidinum 30, 1 dose weekly for 2 weeks. In November 16, it was our Diwali festival. She sent me a photo of pregnant test tube showing positive report for pregnancy. Her pregnancy came positive in just 2.5 months. Now, I will explain you why I gave her nitramur, not the sepia. The nitram adult is a very controlled person. The more closed he is, the more controlled he is. Since it takes a great deal of self-control to avoid showing feelings and also to avoid situation which may elicit feelings. This lady is hiding her anger, cannot share her feelings with everyone. She is wearing a mask just to show herself as an ideal daughter-in-law. She is very hot-tempered, but not showing her anger out. She is just suppressing it because she belongs to the Marwadi family and she just wants to make her image as a good bahu in her family. She is quite fastidious. Natram, however, felt as a child that he was not good enough. And one way of countering this is to be absolute best at everything. It is a compensatory mechanism of Natramir. She is fastidious. Before going to office, she is getting the household work done by the maids in her presence and as per her choice. Natram is oversensitive, has inability to let go of emotions. This lady is very sensitive, cannot let go the things. Natram avoids to hurt others at any cost. This lady is very sensitive and vulnerable. She even cannot hurt ants. Natrams are reserved. This lady cannot open up even with her family. Core of Natramure is suppression of emotional pain. She is suppressing her emotional pain of not having pregnancy. Though she is not sharing it with everyone, but definitely there is a pain inside her. Even her constitution favors Natram. See, every coin has two sides. So Natram has different constitution according to the dominant miasm in the case. We usually address the soric constitution of Natramure, that is long neck and lean and thin patient. But the psychotic Natramure is little bit different. She has fleshy face with smallish eyes, bloated appearance of face and perfect complexion. Short, fleshy nose, thick smile on face, and large lips. I have the very beautiful video of this patient, but unfortunately couldn't share it without because she didn't give me the consent to show the video. As we know, friends, every coin has two sides. Natramure lady can be emotional, submissive, suppressing her emotions for a long time. And gradually, one day, this wall of patience breaks down and her anger bursts out. Now let us see few clips from a movie. It revolves around a woman striving for her place in the world after being unjustly rejected by her husband. Vibha gets married to her classmate Dinesh and makes a lot of sacrifices to keep the marriage intact. However, he soon falls out of love, leaving her to fend for herself. She becomes so bitter after the long struggle and resentment that develops hatred for men inside her. When her friend proposes her for marriage, she gives two strange conditions which is totally undigestible to the society's tradition. When her husband feels guilty and wants to come back to family, she does not melt with apology and kicks him away. These videos will help you to understand Natramure thoroughly. Some lines should never be crossed. This is the Diwali night. She is waiting at her home and her husband is enjoying the party in the office.
Come on, man, let's dance!
Now just observe this video.
सोपं करून सांगू मला डिवोर्स हवाय विभा.
व्हॉट? दिनेश असं नको करूस. आणि पायाखालची धरणी
विभा
ती कुणाची? तीच काढून घ्यायला निघालायस तू.
विभा प्लीज मला तमाशा नकोय.
दिनेश मी पाया पडते तुझ्या. माझा संसार मोडू
विभा
नकोस. माझा संसार मोडू नकोस दिनेश. प्लीज दिनेश माझा ऐक.
Shut up!
This is the next clip where her husband just want to leave her home.
विभा I want to fly. Because for me, sky is the limit.
He left the home, and here is the beginning of our Nitramure. Now, in this clip, you will see her friend proposes her and how she is going to respond here.
विभा, मी डायरेक्ट मुद्द्यावर येतो. विल यू मॅरी मी?
समीर, ठीक आहे, मी तयार आहे लग्नाला. फक्त माझ्या 2 अटी आहेत समीर.
विभा, तू म्हणशील तेवढ्या सगळ्या अटी मान्य आहेत मला.
सगळ्या नाही, 2च. माझी पहिली अट अशी आहे की लग्न झाल्यानंतर तुला तुझं घर सोडून माझ्या घरी येऊन राहावं लागेल. समीर, या पलीकडे माझी आणखी एक अट आहे. लग्न झाल्यानंतर तुला माझं नाव लावावं लागेल.
अशी पद्धत नाहीये विभा.
मग कशी पद्धत आहे आबा?
हे मी तुला सांगायला हवं का? मग ऐक तर, लग्न झाल्यानंतर मुलीनी सासरी जायचं असतं.
मग एकदा मुलांनी सासरी येऊन बघावं.
तुला कळतंय का तू काय बोलतेस ते?
हो, कळतंय. आता यांनाही कळू दे. स्वतःच्या जगापासून तुटून एका अनोळखी घरात येऊन राहण्याची सक्ती. यांना कधीच काही गमवावं लागत नाही. वर मालकी हक्क मात्र गाजवता येतो. आता यांनाही पाहू देत काहीतरी गमावून. येऊ देत आपल्या मालकी नसलेल्या घरात. लावू दे त्या घराला माया. तेव्हा यांना कळेल आपली तगमग, आपला तळतळाट. I hope you understand.
Yeah, I do. And I respect that.
Now, after all this story, her husband wants to come back.
इथे परत येऊ शकतो.
हा आपला उंबरठा होता. तो लाथाडून आपल्या माणसांना तोडून तू निघून गेलास आणि तुझा नवीन उंबरठा निर्माण केलास. पण तिथेही सुखी नाहीच होऊ शकलास. तुझा सुखाचा शोध कधीच संपणार नाही. उद्या नवीन मृगजळ दिसलं तर हा उंबरठा पुन्हा ओलांडून जाशील तू. तुझा काय भरोसा? पण आता माझ्या आयुष्यात तुला स्थान नाही.
So friends, she denied his re-entry in her life. The Nitram rebel suffers from a kind of paranoia. She is always looking for insults and ulterior motives and finds it very hard to trust. She will start a fight if she thinks you may have insulted her. Sympathy which cannot bear. And that's why we have the rubric in our repertory, consolation, aggravation. For consolation, desire, we have pulsatilla. For consolation or sympathy, aversion, we have nitramure. Adult Nitram rebels often focus all of their anger upon a particular section of society. In this case, she has developed the hatred for all men in the society, and that's why she rejected the proposal of her friend. Feminists are usually Nitram rebels. They proceed to systematically attack through every man they come across. And hence we have this rubric in our repertory, hatred of person who have offended. They are unable to see the goodness in a nice man when they come across it. So sad are they by the past. The longer it is bottled, the more violently Nitram's anger explodes. Nitram is more open to being hurt and has become more aggressive. They are injured so deeply that they become bitter and negative. Natrum who are more liable to be governed by hate. Natrum is listed in Kent's repertory in italics under the rubric hate. Natrum feminists are more intent upon revenge. Once she gets injured, she becomes so bitter that cannot melt with the apologies like sepia. And that's why in this case I did not prescribe sepia, though it stood first, and I prescribed nitramur. So nitramur is the remedy in such cases. Several constitutional types are prone to anger and tearfulness premenstrually, including nitramur, sepia, lachesis, and alumina. When tears are clearly being suppressed, nitrum is most often the constitutional type. Whereas when tears are freely flowing and the temper is sudden and intense, both sepia and lachesis should be considered and are usually easily differentiated on account of the former being chilly and latter hot-blooded. To summarize the natrum characteristics, inability to let go of emotions, to let go of loved ones, fear of expressing emotions, fear of losing loved ones, fear of rejection, fear of appearing foolish, fear of losing control, fear of spiders and snakes, and there is a great fear of death. Aversion to affection, sympathy to talking about one's feelings. They do not like to talk about their core feelings. Tendency to grief and depression. Difficulty in crying. Though they feel bad, they do not cry in front of you. They will usually love to cry in privacy. The patient will go in the toilet, in the washroom, and he will cry over there. But he will never cry in front of you, even in your interview. The patient who cries in your interview while homeopathic case taking is sure shot silicea. They need to please people. Natramur always try to please others, and there is a strong sense of guilt has become a psychotic part. Now I am going to discuss few rubrics which are really useful in cases of infertility. We have a rubric copious if there is infertility or sterility from copious menstrual flow. We have 14 remedies as mentioned in the chart. Then if we have infertility due to too early and copious menses, then we have two remedies, phosphorus and sulfur. If there is too early or too late menses causing sterility, then we have only one remedy, that is phosphorus. Rest you can read here. If there is sterility with excessive sexual desire, as I mentioned you in the cause, if there is frequent sexual desire, it can be also a cause behind infertility. So you can wash out this cause with this rubric, and we have 10 remedies for that in our homeopathy. How lucky we are, we have almost all the rubrics and remedies already present in our literature. Then there is one rubric, infantilism genital. If there is atrophy in ovaries or there is atrophy of uterus, you can treat this pathology with the help of this rubric. In the last 3 months back, I had a patient who had hypoplasia of uterus, and usually it is not a curable case. But I got very good results in this case by putting two remedies. First is iodine, and second I gave her calcirephos 200. Why I gave this remedy calcirephos? If any patient, any pregnant lady is consulting you with the complaint that doctor, see my sonography report is showing the duration of 36 weeks and the growth of baby is just 32 weeks. This condition is usually known as small for dead. And we have two remedies for there in homeopathy. One is calcirecar and second is borax. So you can use this remedy in such cases even when there is hypoplasia of uterus or there is infantilism, genital infantilism or atrophy of ovaries. If infertility is due to advancing maternal age, then please friends go with the constitutional remedy, select the individual remedy for individual patient. If there is infertility which is associated with endometriosis, then we have many remedies. The important remedy is xanthosylum in such cases. Usually in other pathies, the patient who has endometriosis usually get the suggestion for DNC, but we never touch our patient. We touch the core of the patient with our magical remedies, and we have 12 magical remedies in cases of endometriosis. It will clear the root cause endometriosis, and your patient may conceive. If any type of tubal occlusion is there, or hydrosalpinx or salpingitis is there, then first of all think about streptococcinum. For example, if we have the pimples or acne on the face, we know that Staphylococcus bacteria is behind this acne, and we use the remedy Staphylococcinum in such cases. So whenever there is tubal inflammation or what we call as salpingitis, then we know it is always associated with the Streptococcus bacteria. So in such cases, think about Streptococcinum remedy. Apart from that, we have these rubrics: inflammation, oviduct, salpingitis, hydrosalpingitis, and chronic inflammation in oviduct. We have the remedy gelsemium. Trust me friends, when I was in college, I knew gelsemium only for the fear of examination. I never used gelsemium uh, till last 5 years. When I studied the infertility or the cases of PCOS, then I came to understood this thing that gelsemium is really a good remedy in such cases. Even you can put gelsemium if there is rigid os during the labor. It is a very good remedy. There is one more remedy which you can use in salpingitis, that is Theocyaninum. Theocyaninum is a very good remedy in cases of inflammation of oviduct, not in inflammation of oviduct, but inflammation in all types of tubes in your body. You can use this remedy in cases of urethral stricture and you will get very good results. Use it in low potency for a long time. A well taken case is a 50% work done. Though you are not a good homeopath, but if you record the case in a proper way, you could achieve the success. Homeopathy is a perfect combo of traditional and modern medicine. While handling the cases of infertility with low AMH, the constitutional remedy is the better choice. But for the other types of infertility cases, you can go with the other rubrics which I already shared with you. Exact approach in infertility. First of all, friends, be unprejudiced observer. Don't apply the same approach to every patient. Every patient is a new patient, as mentioned in aphorism 83 by Dr. Hahnemann. So when every patient is a new patient, your approach will definitely change with the individual patient. We cannot expect that every girl should wear the Cinderella shoe. It is not possible. Infertility is a complex multi-miasmatic disorder, hence single remedy is not sufficient. You cannot stamp a remedy that she is a pulsatilla patient or she is a platina patient and she is going to get results with the particular remedy. No, because sometimes the constitutional remedy, you know what is constitutional remedy? It is the most perfect matching remedy in the current scenario of the long chronic case. But it can change because this scenario may change after 6 months or few months or a year. So your constitutional remedy will change with the present current scenario. So it is single remedy is not sufficient in such cases. If you choose the constitutional remedy, just don't forget to apply the nosode and sarcode and anti-miasmatic remedy as the catalyst in such cases. Choice of unicism or pluralism depends on the present condition. Approach as per individual case, flexibility is the key. Stay yourself flexible and you can approach, your approach can be keynote, it can be PQRS symptom, it can be totality of symptom, it can be any other thing, it can be essence. So friends, this was all about infertility and approach. And you know, woman is the best creation of the God. Almighty God created woman as symbol of his own beauty to give solace to her partner and her family and for educating society and moving towards perfection. So, can we salute the womanhood for just a minute? Just enjoy a small video.
तुझ पे एक पल भी सोचा नहीं, तुझसे बसी है तो हमने न सोचा रे मोरी रात रे, तेरे लिए जहाँ कुछ नहीं।
Hey woman, we love the girl in you. Hey woman, we love the girl in you. Hey woman, we love the girl in you. We love the girl in you.
This was my special salute to today's host, Dr. Kavita Bhuknu, who is my best friend also. And thank you so much for your patience listening, friend. Thank you, Kavita, for hosting me today. And friends, if you have any query, just ask me. I'm here to answer you. And for any further connection, you can just visit my website. You can send me mail. You can visit me, or you can subscribe my channel on YouTube, or you can send your emails to Dr. Kavita. But as much as possible, I would like to answer you right now. So just keep on asking me question. I'm here. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kavita. It was wonderful, amazing, and so many questions might be there. So it was really wonderful session, and many new remedies we have learned. And Dr. Deepak and Dr. Sweta and Professor Regina will be getting you the questions.
Yeah, thank you.
Dr. Shweta, start from the chat. Then I will ask my question to Dr. Kavita.
Sure.
Yes, you are most welcome.
First of all, congratulations, ma'am, for your splendid presentation today. I'm glad I got another chance to hear you, and I learned a lot of very rare remedies and many tips to treat infertility and PCOS. So thank you so much. So let's start the questions. And one question is from Dr. Ambrish. Should we consider thermals in infertility, as you had given Natramur to a Chile patient?
See, Natramur has both the tendency, my dear friends. It is chilly, even it is hot. Like Ignatia, you can prescribe in both patient. You can prescribe pulsatilla in both the thermal reactions, chilly or hot. In fact, all the polycrest has really wonderful action in both the patients, thermally chilly or hot. So you can prescribe, no problem at all.
Another question is from Dr. Mukta. Any light on folliculinum and ovarianum medicine?
See, I already discussed about ovininum. We have estrogen, progesterone in homeopathy. We have these remedies. And about folliculinum, I would like to share few points here. It is a sarcode. You can use this sarcode if you really need that it is suitable in your cases. The cases which I explained, I didn't feel that it is suitable for my cases, but definitely you can use. See, we are free to use all types of sarcodes and nosodes until and unless it is not suitable, don't use. But if it is fitted to your case, then please go ahead. Second thing, about folliculinum, I would like to share one thing, that folliculinum has some identity issue. They are always the puppet in the other's hand. They do not have their own decision making capacity. They always follow the others, and they are always under the pressure. I use the folliculinum even in the other cases. Here I would share a very beautiful clinical tip with you. For examination funk, we usually use gelsemium and argentum nitricum. But folliculinum is a very good remedy for examination funk. If any girl contact you, consult you with suppression of menses or irregular menses and with a pressure from the parents for exam, good performance, then just close your eyes and prescribe folliculinum. You will definitely get good results. She will feel relieved from her pressure. Her hormones will be back. Her menses will be back. So it is a good remedy in such conditions too. So please, there is one suggestion: do not limit yourself with few remedies. It is an open sky. You have to count, you have to pick your own star to decorate your own house. It is up to you, my friends.
One more question from Dr. Amrish. Any remedy, nosodes or sarcodes for azoospermia or oligospermia?
See, we can treat oligospermia. Definitely, it has 100% result. But azoospermia is a congenital defect, my friend. So it is really difficult to say that we can get good result. But of course, you can try your level best. In such cases, we use testosterone. It is a homeopathic remedy, Sarcode. Second, you can prescribe Damenia mother tincture with this. And you can see there are a few more remedies like Agnus castus, Lycopodium. So you can take the constitutional case, you can prescribe constitutional remedy with testosterone and Damania mother tincture. Maybe you can show some miracle in cases of azoospermia. Spermia will definitely, you will get the result in cases of oligospermia, but azoospermia, it is little doubtful.
Another question is from Shruti Singhal. If a lady is having problem in conceiving second child with no underlying cause, should we consider it infertility?
Yeah, it is secondary sterility. And see, in my presentation, the first case which you witnessed, where I showed you all the lab investigations, it was the case of secondary sterility. I mentioned it during my presentation.
And one question from Dr. Dimple Sidana. Kindly put some light on infertility due to uterine polyps.
See, I mentioned this reason also, and for such pathology, I explained you the constitutional remedy should be your choice because your patient is sitting in front of you. At that time, nobody is coming to help you. Not the Hahnemann, not Kent, not Pioneer, and not Kavita Chandak, not Kavita Kuknur, not Shweta Singh. Nobody is coming to help you. So you are the master in your chamber. You have to decide which constitutional remedy you are going to prescribe to your patient. For that, you have a skillful, you should be enough skillful to take a proper case. Because until and unless proper case taking, you are not going to get the correct rubrics. And if you put wrong rubrics in the repertory, you will get the wrong set of remedies. And if you will get the wrong set of remedies, you are going to spoil the case. So basic step is case taking. So in such cases, first of all, as I already explained in my presentation, go with the constitutional remedy and then put some important sarcode and nosode to speed up the recovery because pathology is there. So when pathology is there, I explained you about ovininum, I explained you about medorinum, I explained you about auramur nitronitrum. So use such remedy and please read every remedy from at least 5-6 Mater Medicas before putting the patient, before prescribing the patient. Confirm every remedy from 5-6 Mater Medica from the real sources like Mater Medica Pura, Farrington Mater Medica, or N.M. Chaudhary's Comparative Mater Medica. That will help you.
One question is from Dr. Poonam Chablani. Wait. What do you want to say? Puppet in other's hand. Every female is obedient and silent. How will you differentiate?
Who said every woman is obedient and silent? I am not that much silent personality. I am aggressive. I can respond. I can take stand for myself. I cannot stand with injustice. So we have this rubric in our repertory, cannot stand injustice. And for such condition, we have the remedy Ignatia. You know, Ignatia is the top remedy, which we call as a high moral remedy and cannot stand injustice. So how can we say that every lady is obedient and simple and she follow all the commands? If it is so, why there is Dasu Sundari, why there is Kulan Devi? I don't understand this question. I'm sorry.
Hello, ma'am, Dr. Poonam. Can I ask?
Yes, Dr. Poonam. Yeah, you can ask
Ma'am,
me.
every woman is not bold enough. Maximum female that we are getting in as a patient, they're not able to speak.
Okay. So in such case, you can consider
You
one
said
rubric, submissive personality. We have this rubric, submissive personality.
submissive.
Yeah, submissive personality. See, we have to differentiate the personalities, aggressive or submissive. If the patient is submissive personality, staphysagria is very good remedy for such cases. But don't give staphysagria to all the submissive women. Just ask her whether you are submissive in every condition or you are not bold enough to share everything in just during my interview. Because maybe she is not feeling a bond or a bridge between yourself and her. Because a patient cannot open up in the first interview, she may take some time to open up. So it doesn't mean that she is not bold. She is reserved. She may be introverted, but she is not cowardice patient, Dr. Puna. She can be bold enough to share, but she may require some time. Just give some time to the patient. And but after 3-4 interviews also, if you feel that the patient is really cowardice, she is really submissive in all types of scenario, in all types of front, she is not taking a stand for herself, then go with the submissive personality. We have this rubric in our repertoire.
Thank you, ma'am.
We have a lot of
Welcome.
questions. And
Yes, Shweta, please ask. Please ask. Which questions you really feel important, give them priority.
Ma'am, this question is from Dr. Ritu Agarwal. Any nosodes or sarcoses if a patient comes with repeated congenital heart abnormalities in fetus?
Congenital heart abnormalities in fetus, syphilinum is the correct remedy in such cases. Because mother has this syphilitic tendency, that's why the child is in the congenital heart. But she is telling about congenital heart disorder. Congenital disorder usually counts only after the birth. But she is asking about the intrauterine life. First, clear it, Shweta, whether she is asking about the intrauterine life, she is talking about fetus, or she is talking about the infant after birth.
She's asking if a patient comes with repeated congenital heart abnormalities.
She is asking about intrauterine life. Ritu, your remedy is syphilinum here. Rest you can put some remedies as the constitutional to the mother. Take thorough history, but syphilinum is your cup of tea, 100%.
One question is from Uruj Fatima. If in a case there is fear of intercourse is a reason for not conceiving, how can we take mentals in such cases?
See, before that, I would like to ask you one thing. Fatima, her name? Okay. For all the audience, this is my question. Few days back, a doctor from Pakistan sent me a WhatsApp and he wrote that, Madam, I have a patient. She is pregnant now. She is under my consultation. She has some leukorrhea and there is a strange desire for to eat yellow soil, pili mitti, which is very common in Sindh state in Pakistan. And she has that desire to eat this yellow sand. And which remedy should I give her? I gave her pulsatilla, and the doctor, he wrote this to me. I gave her pulsatilla, and her leukorrhea and other things are better now. But for desire to yellow sand, which remedy should I give her? So audiences, the doctors which are present here, please put your inputs here, which remedy you will prescribe in such condition. Then I will answer the question. Any answer in the chat, Shweta? Can you please read for me?
No, ma'am. No. Calcaria. Dr. Putam Chablani said calcaria. Uruj Fatima said alumina.
Very good.
And calcaria carb.
So congratulations all the doctors who really answered here, but you all are wrong here because see, pregnancy is a normal phenomenon. It is a physiological phenomenon, and strange desires during pregnancy is also considered as a physical phenomenon. As we have gestational diabetes, we have gestational thyroidism. So in such cases, we really do not need to put the remedies. You got my point? First of all, you need to understand where to put remedy and where not to put the remedy. In few cases, only counseling will do counseling will do. So the answer for your question is that if any lady has the fear of intercourse, there is no need of medicine. Please don't put any medicine. Just counsel her and give her SL. Make her the member of SL ward. You know the ad, SL ward में रहूंगा मैं, घर नहीं जाऊंगा मैं. So lady will be happy with your SL and just prescribe her some multivitamins. Counsel the couple together. Suggest the husband to improve the foreplay, and the lady and the couple will get the solution by themselves. Here, doctor's role is 0. Counselor's role is 100%. Next question, please.
Dr. Prerna Shikha, she asked, what are your advices for change in lifestyle or diet in such cases?
See, usually suggest them to do exercise first because inactive lifestyle causes sterility. Second, put vitamin C in their diet. Vitamin C, zinc, vitamin B12 is really important in such cases. Check the CBC report and all the lab investigation because they are considered as subjective symptoms. So don't ignore them. Check them. If there is hemoglobin, suggest the iron diet to the patient. If suppose, usually we should not suggest the diet in detail. We just give them the clue that you need iron, you need calcium, you need something from the diet. Usually suggest them to take all these things from the diet, but refer them to the dietitian for better advice. Because being a doctor, we are not that much better as a dietitian. We should know which diet is applicable or what should be advised here. But for better opinion, just suggest them, refer them to the dietitian.
Okay, that's all about the questions. And one question is from my side, ma'am. You have shared a remedy that is psychosis bacillus.
Yes. Yes.
So in which potency you used generally this medicine?
See, Shweta, in my practice, I usually use all the sarcodes in 200 potency and all the nozodes, if I put to open up the case, it is always in high potency, 10 m power, but in aqua dose. But suppose if I use nozode as an intercurrent remedy or anti-miasmatic remedy during the constitutional medicines, then I use the nozode in low potency.
In single potency, ma'am, what should be the repetition?
For nozode, if low potency, it is 30. You can prescribe morning, evening, no problem at all. For long time, you can prescribe. But if you are giving as an open up, nozode can be your opening batsman in various cases. If suppose there is a history of hormonal imbalancing, because various times the infertility is due to long history of long-term intake of hormonal contraceptives. So it is a big blockage. It disturbs our endocrinal axis, and endocrinal axis is the first layer according to the importance of health. So if you have any other symptom, just ignore all the symptoms. Suppose any patient is visiting you for psoriasis and she had imbalance or irregular menses. First, treat her irregular menses because endocrinal axis is very important axis. It involves your pituitary, it involves our thyroid, it involves our breast, and it involves all our endocrine glands too, pancreas, adrenal cortex, everything. So first target the endocrinal axis in every cases. So in such cases, we usually require nozodes in high potency to open up such cases and to remove the molecular imprints of any types of toxins or the side effects of hormonal contraceptive from the vital energy of the patient. So if you are putting nozode in high potency, one remedy at one time, one dose, you can repeat it after 15 days or even after 1 month as per the need of the individual case. There is no rule according to this. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Over to you, Dr. Deepak.
Yeah.
Please ask your question.
Thank you, Dr. Shweta. And Dr. Kavita, you are, as usual, wonderful always. And
Thank you so much.
this is really an informative session. I learned a lot, but I have a question that you are talking about the sarcodes and nosode in the different ways. So what are the days you prefer to giving to the female, like day 2, day 5, day 8, or day 14, in which you prefer, or there is no criteria of the days to prescribe the nosode or sarcodes?
See, doctor, if I suggest them test for PCOS, usually, for infertility, PCOS, or irregular menses, we send the patient for hormonal assays. That time, I usually suggest them to go on the second day of menses for lab investigation. Such as if suppose menses appear today before 12 noon, then it is the second day will be your second day. If menses appear after 12 noon, then the third day will be your second day. So for lab investigation, I just usually send them by this rule. But for putting my sarcodes and nosodes, till now in my cases, I do not have any definite date, because till now I put them as per the need of the patient, and when the patient consult me according to my appointments, and I got the results. So I never looked in the depth according to the day for sarcode or nosode. But maybe in future I will think about it. If any nosode or sarcode won't work for me in future, then I will definitely think about it.
Thank you so much. And I want to share one more thing about a question from Urush Fatima. And this is a case of the dyspareunia, maybe. You say that is fear of intercourse. So I have a case with the same tendency. The female is having too much fear about the intercourses, even the thoughts of intercourses which panic her. So after counseling and after investigation, I found there is a narrowing in the vagina due to the fibrosis, due to an scar and the severe infection in the past 10 years. So this may be the cause. So during the consultation, you just do the physical examination. This is also a very important part of the case taking. So never ignore the fear. You just counsel her, but you should check, you should examine the organs that they are clear or not. So this is my
Dr.
point.
Deepak, yeah, thank you so much for sharing. But usually we check the patients who is all the gynec patients who are visiting us for the infertility, and if the patient says there is trouble during intercourse because of the vagina, or there is burning pain during coition, then we have different rubrics for this. And if there is narrowing of cervix, Dr. Fatima, we have a very good family, Ericaceae family. Ericaceae family in homeopathy. It is a very good remedy. The whole family is very good family for the narrowing of cervix. Not only cervix, for the narrowing of all the tubes of the body. Like you can use these remedies from the family. Even in urethral structure, you can use the Theosia ninum for such cases. But only if you have you found some pathology in the body. But if suppose it is just a mental symptom, because somebody has see, sometimes the patient is impressionable, because some friend share this thing that इसमें तो बहुत दर्द होता है यार, ये तो बहुत painful चीज है, and the patient gets into the fear. This is the paranoia, this is the fixed fear, this is the fixed mind. Then just counsel her. If it is a mental symptom only, just counsel her. If it has some physical pathology behind it, then just put some remedies, which we suggested you just now. Thank you, Dr. Deepak, for sharing this important point. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you so much.
Any more questions, Dr. Deepak?
No, ma'am.
There
Not
are many
Doctor,
questions, but I think we are out of time. And so over to you, Dr. Kavita.
Thank you so much, Kavita, again, my dear friend, for accepting my request and sharing your knowledge. It was a wonderful and brainstorming session. We still need to learn more, and we will bring you back.
Thank you so much. It will be a pleasure, Kavita, for you to be there always for you. It will always be a pleasure and honor for me.
Thank you so much for honoring me, Kavita. And one announcement, like in order to, again, this is all educational webinars for learning purpose. It's a study group webinars. So in order to receive continuing educational certificate, you need to fill the jot form which is provided in the chat, and then we will mail you the certificate, and it will be within the 1 week they have to fill this jot form. And I thank our Homeopathy Study Group team for the continuous support. Today we have with us Dr. Poonam, Dr. Shravani, and Dr. Bhavana Raj from our study group team. And we have our webinar on September 13th at 9 a.m. India time and 11:30 a.m. Eastern by Dr. Girish Gupta, speaking about evidence-based homeopathy in dermatology, a best case series. So do not miss that opportunity. And I would like to ask Professor Regina to speak.
Oh, I would like to see Regina. Regina, I want to see you.
Thank you. It was a wonderful seminar. Thank you so much for sharing your precious knowledge. I would like to ask everyone to please join our social media on the Kavita Homeo Study Group family. We have LinkedIn, we have Facebook, Twitter, and the Zoom. You can also add your picture to your profile. I'm learning with Dr. Shweta that. Thank you so much, Dr. Kavita. It was an amazing webinar. Thank you for this great opportunity, and namaskarams to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Regina. Namaskaram to you, and take care. Thank you so much for your kind words.
And Dr. Shweta, you want to say anything last?
Just I want to thank everyone for joining us, and I hope they liked it. They liked our webinars, and please follow us on our social media. It's Ka Homeopathy Study Group on Facebook, LinkedIn, as Regina ma'am said, and please fill the Google form what I shared in the chat box to receive your certificate of participation. Thank you so much.
And we are also available on Instagram, Twitter too. And if you have any questions, please email us at carstudygroup@gmail.com. And thank you to my study group team and everyone once again, to Kavita Chandak for having this webinar today and making it a wonderful session. Thank you all, and see you all next time. Until then, stay healthy and happy.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.